It was a soft vibration, barely audible, just enough to wake me. I blinked at the clock, 2:17 a.m. My wife, Tessa, was beside me, fast asleep, her back turned. The sound came again, a low, distinct bzzz. It wasn't her regular phone that sat charging on her nightstand. This came from her closet drawer. I sat up, heart suddenly too awake. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was being paranoid. But I got up. I walked across the bedroom, the hardwood floor cold under my feet. I opened the drawer slowly, quietly. And there it was. A second phone. Not the one I knew. A cheap burner, face down, still glowing. I froze. It buzzed again. I stared at it like it might bite. I didn't open it, not yet. I put it back, closed the drawer. My hands were shaking. I lay awake the rest of the night, next to a woman I suddenly wasn't sure I knew at all. The next morning, I couldn't stop thinking about the second phone. It sat in her drawer like a secret grenade, waiting to go off. Over breakfast, Tessa was cheerful. Too cheerful. She laughed at something on the TV, touched my hand across the table, and I just nodded, barely tasting my coffee. I kept replaying the buzz, the glow, the phone. When she left for yoga, I acted fast. I went straight to the drawer. The phone was still there. I picked it up. No lock screen. Just a basic 4-digit PIN. I guessed. Our anniversary, number, her birth year, no, her dog's name from childhood. Click. It opened, and my stomach turned. There were messages, hundreds of them. Some were just emojis, some were pictures. There was a name, J. No full name, just an initial. But the texts weren't just recent, they went back months. At first, I could only skim. I didn't want to read them, but I had to. Last night was amazing. You always know what I need. I wish I could wake up next to you instead of him. I hate lying to Colin, but I love us. Each word was a dagger, each timestamp a betrayal, and the pictures, selfies in hotel rooms. One in our bathroom, while I was away on a work trip. She was wearing my shirt. I scrolled, stunned, numb. This wasn't just a fling. This was a whole other relationship, and I was the fool funding it. I closed the phone, put it back in the drawer, exactly how I found it. But nothing felt normal anymore. The kitchen, the photos on the wall, her voice when she called that afternoon. All of it felt staged, fake. I smiled through the call, but inside, something had snapped. That evening, I tried to act normal. I smiled. I asked about yoga. I made dinner like I always did. But inside, I was screaming. Tessa didn't notice. She talked about her friend's wedding plans, about a coworker's dog, about the recipe she wanted to try. It was surreal, like living with a stranger wearing my wife's face. Every time she looked at me, I wondered if she saw guilt in my eyes, or if she even cared. I almost said something, twice. I stood there, dish towel in hand, looking at her across the kitchen. But the words wouldn't come. Not yet. I needed more proof, more answers. I needed to know who Jay was, because if I was about to destroy my marriage, I wanted to make sure I wasn't also destroying myself in the process. The next morning, I called in sick. Tessa had already left for work. I had one mission, find out who Jay was. The phone held clues, messages about meeting spots, times, restaurants. One stood out. See you at the place on 5th again? Same room? That was the key. I checked my credit card records, hers too. One hotel popped up more than once. Downtown, boutique, discreet. I went. I walked into the lobby and asked casually, "Hi, I think my wife might have left something here." Tessa Briggs? She might have checked in recently. The clerk smiled too easily. Yes, she was here last Friday with Mr. James James. J. A wave of heat hit my face. Not just from anger, shame. I'd met a James, Tessa's work friend. We'd had drinks together once. He laughed at my jokes, said he admired our marriage. I felt sick. I left the hotel and sat in my car for nearly 40 minutes, staring at the dashboard, at my own reflection in the rearview mirror. I didn't explode. I didn't storm into her office or scream at her in the driveway. I became quiet, dangerously quiet. For the next few days, I played the role of the clueless husband. I kissed her good morning. I asked about her day. I even picked up dinner on my way home. But all the while, I was preparing. I spoke with a lawyer. I printed copies of the texts. I took screenshots. I gathered bank statements, evidence, everything I needed. Because when I confronted her, I wasn't going to just ask why. I was going to walk away with clarity and dignity in the house. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted the truth. But the truth was darker than I expected. Because on the 5th night, while I was reviewing my documents, Tessa's second phone buzzed, a new message from James. We should tell him soon. I'm tired of sneaking around. Maybe this weekend. Tell me what exactly? Was it more than an affair? Was there another secret? I didn't wait for the weekend. The next morning I left work early. Tessa was home. She'd taken a sick day. Ironic. I walked in quietly and found her in the kitchen, texting, with his phone open on the table beside her. I sat down across from her and said calmly, "We need to talk." She looked up, startled. "About what?" I pulled out the second phone. "I found this." Her face went white. It's not what you think." I didn't speak. I just let the silence suffocate her. Finally, she admitted it. Yes, she'd been seeing James. Yes, it had been going on for almost a year. Yes, she had planned to leave me, but didn't know how. She said she still loved me, that she was confused, that it just happened. I asked her about the message. What were they planning to tell me? And that's when she gave me her final lie. That I ended things with him. That I made a mistake. That I wanted to fix this. I didn't believe her. Not anymore. I stood up. No shouting, no anger. Just a quiet finality in my voice. I already spoke to a lawyer. Papers will be delivered this week. Tessa gasped. Wait, Bryce, please. Can we talk? Really talk? I shook my head. There's nothing left to say. Her eyes welled up. Maybe from guilt. Maybe from losing her comfort. I walked upstairs, grabbed a bag I'd already packed, and left. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't even feel sad. Just free. It hurt, yes. But not because I lost her. Because I wasted years believing in someone who built a second life behind my back. Days later, James sent me a message. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I'm sorry. I blocked him without replying. Tessa tried to call. I blocked her too. Sometimes, peace begins when the noise ends.